Welcome back, Shop Rats. Today is a Talk About It Tuesday, and we're going to talk about the inevitability of having to convert all of our antique and classic cars over to electric.
This is My Cars Shop.
Settle down. I didn't say I believed it. I'm just telling you that's what a lot of people say. I just had many discussions in the last couple of weeks on antique car forums and people talking about how within 5 to 10 years gasoline will no longer be available and we're not going to have any choice but to convert all of our antique cars to electric or no longer drive them. Understand that I've been hearing this since the 1970s, so I'm pretty skeptical. I've lived through the fuel crisis of the 70s and the fuel crunch in the 80s and the fuel crunch in the 90s and the Y2K gas scare and all these. It seems like every 10 years or so this thing comes around, and we do know that there's the big green push right now. The big green thumb is being put.
Never mind.
The big green thumb is being pushed on all of us, and there's huge, big, stupid money available. I mean, all the automakers are saying they're going to greatly increase production on electric vehicles. Some are even saying that they're going to eliminate all gasoline production and be all electric by 2034 or whatever that number is. And quite frankly, I don't buy it, but that's just my opinion, and it should be yours. But is it realistic that a multi-billion-dollar industry, the classic and antique car world, is going to just evaporate and that the powers that be are going to make it completely impossible? I seriously doubt it. You know what they say about money talks, and, well, it does. Now, that doesn't mean that gas may not be $20 a gallon. I mean, I remember when, gas was 89 cents a gallon. And I've seen it as high as, 6 or 7 a few years ago, maybe even close to 8. I remember Y2K when gas hit $3 a gallon, and I thought the world was going to come to an end because I had no idea how we were going to be able to afford it. And now we're paying, I think I paid $3.49 this morning for gas. And I don't like it, but I'm driving a truck right now as I'm talking, and this truck only gets about 16 miles to the gallon, so I guess I'm not that worried about it. Would I consider converting one of my classic cars to electric? Well, let me think.
No.
I wouldn't. I'm sure if gasoline magically goes away like they've been predicting for the last 50 years, and they somehow seem to keep coming up with more, and they even believe now that it's possible that the earth continues to create more crude oil all the time, and that it's just kind of a process that goes on. I don't know, I'm not that smart. But would I convert? No, that doesn't mean that I'm going to let all of my cars become static models and sit in the garage and do nothing. Although half the year or more, that's kind of what they do anyway. But I'm not interested in owning museum pieces. But I figure probably people are pretty smart. And that was really rough. People are pretty smart, and they're going to come up with some kind of a liquid that will work. If gasoline does magically go away and we can't get it anymore, there's something they're going to put in that's going to go boom, that's going to make our cars run. But I mean, if we really, really think about it, the far-reaching impact in this country of the automotive hobby, of motorsports, NASCAR, NHRA, IHRA, motocross, there's just boating. There is so much, bazillions of dollars all surrounding gasoline-powered things. And I just don't realistically see that that's going away anytime soon. But it does raise the question, would you consider going all electric? I guess I hadn't thought of this until this very moment. But if the government called me and said, hey, we're going to give you $10,000 for each of your cars to convert them to electric, I guess I'd have to think about that. I don't know. I could probably do it for much cheaper. I probably wouldn't. It's government control and all that kind of stuff. But still, it would be a temptation, and I think that kind of is the point here, that there's big stupid money out there right now for everything going electric and going green. And well, if you were an automaker, Wouldn't you do it? It does really kind of fit into the bigger picture, the bigger questions that I have about the hobby in general, and that is what's going to happen to the hobby in the next 10, 20, 30 years with all of the people who are into all of this vintage iron. Those people are dying off, and yes, there are young people interested in getting involved, but the reality is we're not seeing the massive numbers of people picking up the gauntlet in this hobby like there was in my generation and in previous generations. I mean, even in my son's generation, that number is going down. And yes, I'm always glad to see when people that age are really into the imports, import drags, and all of the really super fast. I don't know what the politically correct terms are now, so I'm going to have to be very careful. But we used to call them rice. I don't know what they call them today. So, but what, those numbers are, well, that's an expensive hobby. And I don't know. I wonder in the bigger picture of all of this is if the only way the hobby may be able to continue, not so much from an unavailability of gasoline, but is to look at some of these alternative power plants. Something's got to interest people to get them involved and keep them involved. I've ridden in a Tesla, and it wasn't even the hot rod, and I was quite frankly quite impressed with how quick it was. And from a sheer perspective of being a dyed-in-the-wool drag racer, at heart, I kind of get it. I mean, it's almost instant acceleration and massive thrust and instant torque, and well, why wouldn't that be interesting? But do I really want an electric motor in my 1926 Oakland? I know this can be a real hot topic, and I want you guys to drop your comments down there and tell me your thoughts, but I'm going to ask you, please be respectful. Everybody's opinion is okay. I don't want to see arguing, and everybody has an opinion, and you're entitled to mine. I guess I'm entitled to yours too. No, but we all have opinions and we all have thoughts, and I think it's a subject that's worth discussing. So drop your thoughts down there in the comments. I think this can be a great topic as long as we all keep it respectful. And I know all of the hardcore viewers on the channel here are very respectful, and I'm not too concerned about that, but still it bears saying. So that'll do it for this one. What's your thoughts? We'll catch you on the next one.